Welcome to another edition of the Radio Coffee House Show, where Jesus meets coffee meets talk radio. And the next one starts right now. How's it going, everybody? Clint Armitage with the Radio Coffee House. We're doing another road show, so thanks for listening up and thanks for listening in. All right, this one is a good one. This episode today is Beast Mode versus God Mode. Now, we know what beast mode is, right? Natural abilities, and people can use their natural abilities to go out there and act like a beast, whether it be on the football field or in business or whatever. Beast mode is highly sought. However, there is actually a mode that's higher than that, and that's called God mode. And we're going to get into it right now. Let's do this. All right, what's up, everybody? Like I said in the intro, it's Clint Armitage with the Radio Coffee House. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for listening in. Got another road show for you today, and we're going to be talking about beast mode, which is our natural abilities, and then we're also going to be talking about God mode, which is our spiritual abilities. When we hear the term beast mode meant for someone to utilize their natural abilities. So like, say in football, a running back that would just plow through the defense. That would be termed beast mode, right? They'd go right through that defense. No one could stop them. And people would term that as beast mode. However, that's natural abilities. So today what we're going to be talking about is God mode. How do we go from beast mode to God mode? Because God mode is going to be a lot better, a lot greater, and do a lot more good in this world than beast mode. Because beast mode is natural. That's our natural abilities. That's things that we do and that we have and we mostly utilize for us. But when we're talking God mode, we got a different thing going here. So what we're going to do is talk about our special abilities and spiritual gifts that God has given us. Now, these are specific to you. And it's for God's purpose for you. That's why we're given these things. And it's listed in, well, we're going to read 1 Corinthians 12, verses 4 through 7. All right, let's check it out. Let's see what it says. Here we go. There are different kinds of gifts, but the same Spirit. There are different kinds of service, but the same Lord. There are different kinds of working, but the same God works all of them in all men. Now to each one, the manifestation of the Spirit is given for the common good. Okay, so you see right there, God gives us these gifts, and He gives us these special abilities that can take us to another level. And the reason why it can take us to another level, because we're not using our natural abilities. We're using God's abilities, God's Spirit, the Holy Spirit, coming in and giving us supernatural abilities. And He gives it to us when we become Christians, when we actually surrender to Him and make Him the Lord of our life. The Holy Spirit infuses us, or indwells us, I should say, and we have this power, this ability, and these special gifts. Again, we are all born with natural gifts. And the highest level we can hit is beast mode. But with spiritual gifts, we're talking God mode here. Not that we're gods, it's that God is working through us. God can use His power, His Spirit, His abilities through us because we have surrendered to Him. And that is God mode. That's supernatural work. Now, we don't choose our gifts, right? We don't even earn the gift. Just like our natural abilities, we don't choose it. And we can't earn it. God has given it to us. But this is for another level. Now, our spiritual abilities, our God mode, is actually the gift that's given to us, but not for us. And it's not for you. It's not for me. It was given so that we can give it to others in order to help others. And it's also for God's glory. So when we use our supernatural abilities, our spiritual abilities that God has given us, our God mode, we should be using it to help people. And that's exactly what God has given it to us for, is to help other people. And then when we do that, God's name is praised. God gets the glory. That's why it's God mode. That's why it's a spiritual ability and not a natural ability. We're doing things for God and not for ourselves. So when we're born, we get natural abilities, right? But when we're born again, we get the spiritual abilities. Now, spiritual gifts produce spiritual results. For example, like a naturally gifted teacher can teach well. A naturally gifted athlete can do athletics well. Like I said earlier with the running back. This running back can do things really well, can break through the defense, can score touchdowns, very athletic. Well, that is natural abilities. And that's the beast mode. But when we're talking God mode, it releases spiritual transformation for people because God mode is for others, right? So when we utilize our gifts and abilities in God mode, we actually bless other people to the point where there's some spiritual transformation. There's some massive transformation that can happen in others so that God gets the glory. And that's where we take it to another level. So let me say it like this. So information versus transformation. Okay, so if you were to think like a teacher, right? A teacher's natural abilities can teach well, can transfer information. But if a teacher has spiritual abilities and is in God mode, God can give transformation through the teacher. So there's a big difference between natural abilities and beast mode versus spiritual abilities and God mode. Totally different level. For the teacher, totally different level of instruction. There's change that occurs when a spiritually gifted person uses their abilities. Okay, it's an additional superpower that can't be matched by anything natural, by nothing natural in this world. Our natural abilities will never be able to top or even match anything that your spiritual abilities can do because God's in it. God's indwelling it. God's giving you the authority and the power through the spiritual ability to transform lives, not just inform lives. You're actually transforming lives and you're doing it for them, for the common good, and then God gets the glory. It's an awesome thing. It is truly awesome. You can tell the difference between, natural gifts and spiritual gifts, right? Because you notice when someone is naturally gifted, and I could go back to that same running back or the teacher, you experience their natural abilities and you're like, that's impressive. That's beast mode. Well, the difference between that and God mode is that spiritual abilities, when you experience their spiritual abilities, it's on another level and it also brings you closer to God. You can actually step closer to God when you experience someone else's spiritual abilities, their God mode. That's the big difference. And it goes to another level because it actually transforms. It has the ability to transform you from the inside. Think of someone that sings normally, very blessed singer, a natural singer. You're impressed. You're impressed by the singing. You're like, wow, cool voice, awesome voice. And then there's songs that they sing, wow, that was a beautiful song. But then if they take it to another level and the Lord blesses them spiritually with a spiritual gift in singing, and they start singing songs that actually can bring you closer to the Lord, you will notice transformation happens. It touches your soul. It touches your spirit. And that's because God's power is involved. God's power is infused. It's indwelling this person as they express their God-given gift, their spiritual gift. So a huge difference. So basically, God can use your gift to take it to another level, to speak to someone's heart, because it's God working through you. This is why every believer needs to constantly be utilizing and working in your specific gift, your God mode gift. Okay, you can work in your natural gift as well. That's not a big deal. And sometimes there's a connection between the natural gift and the spiritual gift. And so you always need to be working in your spiritual gift. Because when you don't work in your spiritual gift, you can't participate as much in what God is doing in and around you. That's why it's crucial to find out what your gifts are and then to start using them for God. Now, you don't even need to be doing something overtly spiritual for God to use you. He can use you at times you don't even know about it. It's just that you have surrendered to Him. You are now using His superpowers, His spiritual gifts. Your God mode is working through you and you may not even know it, but you're touching other people just by stuff that you say. And that's because you're always running in your spiritual gifts. So you have to figure out what your spiritual gift is. And again, it could be tied to your natural gift. It could be tied to passions that God has given you, but not necessarily. Okay? So you have to understand what your spiritual gifts are. It can lead you in that right direction. Are you passionate about something? That leads you in that direction. Are you very good at something? That leads you in that direction. And then another thing obviously is to surrender to God. Give yourself over for Him to be the Lord of your life. And then He can lead you and open specific areas that'll give you some ideas of what your God mode is, what your spiritual gifts are. Because then you'll be doing things for Him, doing exactly what He created you to do. And then when you do that, that's pure, it's true, it's undefiled, it's perfect, it's worship. And that's what it is, it's worship. Because God looks down and He totally smiles on you. And there's so much joy in His heart, just like a father to their child when the child is doing exactly what they were created to do. God's going to smile on you and to have this joy and then bless you some more because you are working in your spiritual gifts. Just like a father gets excited watching his kid score the winning goal, right? At the championship game or whatever. It's like that. He's excited. And so you benefit, God benefits, and people around you benefit. All of humanity benefits whenever you're in God mode. So that's a big difference between beast mode and God mode. You know, sometimes, I don't know if you've ever noticed when you're doing something that you're good at, okay? And then you have this undeniable sense and feeling that this is what you want to keep doing. This is where you feel like God is in it. This spiritual sense like, man, this is what I need to be doing. This fulfills me, right? You have this peace. You have this understanding. You have this fulfillment. And it surpasses all regular, normal, natural understanding. And that's going to lead you towards that God mode and your spiritual gifts. You're going to start to pinpoint what your spiritual gifts are because you know it internally, right? Like intrinsically, you know it. And you would do it for free. If you could, you'd literally do this for free. And you could picture yourself doing it for the rest of your life. And you wouldn't even mind giving it away. And that is where you can start to understand your God mode. Because if you wouldn't mind giving it away, guess what? That's how God can use you. Whenever we're using our spiritual gifts for God, you have so much more impact when you're giving it away. Because people know there's no other, ulterior motive or anything, because you're literally giving it away and it blesses them. And in turn, it blesses you. Like what Jesus said, it's better to give than to receive. And even though it's a natural skill set that you may be good at, beast mode, you also are using your spiritual skill set. They could be one and the same, but it takes it to another level when God's working through you. And then the other thing is you get to release the outcome to God. And when you get to release the outcome to God, you don't have to impress anybody. Whenever we're in our beast mode, our natural abilities, we're trying to impress people because we're utilizing our natural gift, and we may impress people just because we're good at something specific. But then we start relying on the outcome to satisfy our selfish desires. However, if we're using it as a spiritual gift, giving it away, we literally can release the outcome to God and we'll let Him do what He wants to do with it. We get to release that off of us. There's no burden on us. We're just giving it away. And then you'll be fully working in your gift for God. That is God mode. Okay, this was in the movie Chariots of Fire about Eric Liddell, this Olympic runner. He said this, he said, "I was made to run. When I run, I feel God's pleasure." And that's God mode. He was running in God mode, totally. So what is your spiritual gift? Remember, you'll be good at it and you'll have energy for it. Like you'll have this passion, this drive for it. That's why you can connect the natural ability to your spiritual ability. But the difference is when you've surrendered yourself to Christ, He's going to give you the Holy Spirit that is going to increase your superpower. And then you're going to be blessing others for God and not for yourself. And so those are the big differences between beast mode and God mode. So much difference. People in this world get locked into beast mode. They think that is the ultimate. They're going to reach the pinnacle in their life in beast mode. Now they may in the natural. You can become this huge CEO, billionaire, all kinds of money. And that's beast mode in business. You could reach the NFL Super Bowl MVP. That's beast mode in football. But you can also reach God mode, which is the highest level of ability that anyone in this world could ever do. And it's only uniquely this place at the top. And really, it's upside down. It's at the bottom because you're serving people. But this place is specifically set for you. Your special abilities are unlike any other person in this world prior or after you. It's only for you. God has set your path and your abilities to match spiritual abilities. You cannot reach it unless you're in God mode. And that's the only way you're going to be able to fulfill your purposes and callings in this life that God has already laid out. Again, you're the only one. There is no one else that is called to do what you can do. There is no one else that can reach the specific God mode place that you're supposed to reach. So figure out what your natural abilities are, figure out what your spiritual gifts and abilities are, and then start doing it for God so that you can move from beast mode to God mode. All right, thanks everybody. I appreciate you listening in, and that was such an awesome episode, and I hope to hear you back next time on the Radio Coffee House. My name is Clint Armitage, and until then, stay safe and God bless. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Radio Coffee House Show, where we're all about Jesus, coffee, and radio. We'll see you next time.